Good evening and welcome to our Smyrna Town Council workshop for May to set our agenda for our June meeting. Before we move into our items for discussion, I'm going to ask Steve if he would do our prayer, and then we have some special guests here tonight that I'll introduce after we do the pledge, but they're going to do our pledge for us tonight. So if you'll all stand with us.
Bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you for today. We thank you for the beautiful weather. We thank you for the wonderful spring and summer-like temperatures that we've had the last few days. We ask that you continue to bless our town, be with those that are in need and suffering in our community. We've had quite a few losses in the last few weeks, Lord. We ask that you be with those families and provide peace and continue to bless us the way that you have so far, Lord. Be with us board tonight as we consider the town's agendas, and that everything would be pleasing in your sight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If y'all will come forward. If you'll just come about right here. Perfect. Okay.
Ready?
Ready? Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everyone else may be seated, but Mark, if you'll come down front with me, and if you all will stay right there and turn around and face everybody that's in the crowd. So Zippy emailed me today and told me that we were going to have some special guests. So I'm going to let Zippy introduce our special guest.
If you don't know, Zippy is my name instead of Pawpaw, Grandpa, whatever Paw, because when this one was born, we took a democratic vote on what they were going to call me, and everybody wanted me to be Poppy, and I said, no, I'm going to be a Zippy. I'm too young to be a Poppy. We won. So it stuck. So I'm Zippy. These are my beautiful grandchildren right here. These are my daughter's kids. I'm going to introduce the oldest to the youngest. This is Layton. This is Lennox. And this is Ledger. And I'm very proud of these youngsters, and I appreciate them coming to do the pledge with us tonight. And we've got a little certificate for you, okay? So thank you for coming and being, I'm super proud of you guys. You did a great job, by the way. And Mayor Reed's got something else for you. There you go.
So, we are so proud of each one of you. It's a big deal to get up and do our pledge, but we're also proud of your Zippy too. He does a great job for us. So, thank you all for coming. Didn't they do a great job? So, thank you all so much. Oh, wait, did you get, wait, I'm sorry, come back, we've got to get a picture, we forgot. We totally forgot.
It's kind of like your mom when she takes pictures of you guys.
That's right.
Same thing.
Okay, you gotta get one picture of you.
All right.
Thanks, you guys.
See you guys later, okay?
Okay, we will move into our items for discussion, and our first one is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement for the design of the water line improvements on Front Street. Mr. Parker, how are you?
Pretty good. Morning, or evening, Mayor, Council. This is authorization for Thomas and Hutton to do engineering for the water line improvement along Front Street that will coincide with what Public Works is doing for the improvement as there as well.
Questions for Mr. Parker on this?
How involved of an operation will this be?
Not near as bad as some of the others have been. There's an existing 2 and 6 that's currently along Front Street. We're going to replace that with an 8, and when that gets looped in with the Highland Waterline project, that'll help provide fire protection to that entire downtown area.
Will it run the length of Front Street or?
Right now, it's going to go from Division to College. So it's going to run the length of where Tom is running, doing the improvements along Front Street right through
So
there.
we'll actually be digging it up and,
Yes, we're gonna dig up a section of Front Street. We're gonna stay off the sidewalks, and we're gonna be out in the drive areas and put that new water line in and reconnect all the services.
very good, sir.
Would you know, will they be shutting down Front Street during that time, or is it gonna be one lane kind of adjustment? So right now, they're shutting down, I guess that's Front Street right there, mostly during the week, but it's kind of open and closed, so you don't always know when, so just curious if you
I think
knew.
the anticipation is gonna be just have one lane closure so that you let through traffic in and out.
Gotcha.
Do you anticipate it taking a long period of time? I mean, will it interfere with any of the events which we hold on Front Street down there? I mean,
Well-
you've got,
What we'll do, sir, is we'll, whenever those events happen, we'll shut down construction and we'll safe up the area so that the events can take place, and then we'll start construction after those events are over.
of course, we've got, farmer's market every Saturday.
This work will be done Monday through Friday. We won't do any work on the weekends.
Other questions? Okay, we'll move on to item 2, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute the annual water, sewer, and gas material bids.
Mayor, this is just a standard material bid that we hold every year for water, sewer, and gas. It's just our run-of-the-mill meters and pipe and fittings that we need for over the course of the year.
Council, any questions on this? Okay, we'll put that on the agenda and move on to item 3, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute change order number 2 for the 1R lift station project.
All right, Mayor, this is the change order for the lift station improvement that's being conducted. It's the station directly behind Gillsville. So this is just minor cleanup change orders that we've got, as such as a credit on bypass pumping that was anticipated but not to the level that we used, and then adding a few services.
Questions on this? Okay. Moving on to item 4, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Conica Minolta for the lease of the 2 printers for the police department roll call and record areas. Hey, Carl.
Hi, Mayor. How are you?
Great.
Good evening, Council. Yeah, this is a request. The police department has 2 current devices that have reached useful end of life. We need to replace those, and so we have had great success with Conica Minolta and are looking to add these 2 to the fleet.
Questions on these leases?
Are they replacing leased items also, or?
Yes, they are. Yeah, they were leased items from R.J. Young. These will come from Conica Minolta. The nice thing, the current leases they have, you get they have a limit on how much you can print, and then you pay extra for color over black and white. This includes everything, no limits, everything's included. So these leases have been much more advantageous for us.
Other questions? Okay, we'll put that one on the agenda and move on to item 5, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement to accept the U.S. Department of Homeland Security state and local cybersecurity grants administered by the state of Tennessee.
And as announced in the budget retreat, we were awarded 2 grants from the state of Tennessee. The first one is for a managed endpoint detection system. That one is actually going to be provided through the state, and there will be no impact to the town at all. The second award is a grant award of $45,250 for the implementation of multi-factor authentication. That grant is budgeted in our capital plan in the next year, but then will be reimbursed through the grant process.
Questions for Carl on this?
Do you already have an idea of what type of MFA you're gonna use?
Yeah, we want to go to YubiKeys. It's about the only one that'll meet all of the use cases that we have, given the
Right.
diverse populations of everything we have going on. So it'll be the devices, and it's also the most secure
Little
method
key-
of
Key
MFA.
fobs, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Other questions? Okay, we'll put that
Thank
one
you.
on the agenda and move on to item 6, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute change order number 4 with Cleary Construction for the Spring Hill Drive Extension Project.
Hey, Mayor and Council, this is change order is for additional pay items associated with the aggregate material that was shown in the typical sections in the plans, but did not have a bid item in the proposal book. And also the others for storm drainage system castings that were not used due to the revised drainage plan.
Questions for Charles on this with the Spring Hill Drive Extension? Okay, item 7 is approval of the...
Wait just a second, what, estimated completion date on this project now?
Our contractor, we did the punch list last week, so in the next couple of weeks, he'll be there. The developer that's doing the grading on each side of the roadway is in. He may be in there another month, so maybe July, depending on how much space the home builder will take up. We'll look at it then, but hopefully we can get the grading contractor out. But we're about to wrap up with Cleary on the road itself.
So by the time that school starts back up, this thing will be.
We're looking to have it open by that time. We'll keep taking a look at it when the grading contractor's out of there, so.
Almost pinned you down, didn't it?
Almost, I'm trying. Always, it's not always due to weather. But we will wait and do the topping. Right now, we're just gonna leave it in binder till the other contractors get out of there so they don't scratch it up. So we'll be a while later before we actually put the topping. But hopefully, we're looking to get the road open by July.
Thank you, sir.
Other questions? Okay, item 7 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute the scope and fee proposal with Energy Land and Infrastructure for the Industrial Boulevard retaining wall and guardrail repair project.
Out there on Industrial Drive, we've had a large, look like semi-rub up against the guardrail there, and in doing that, it's pushed the guardrail out, but also it's knocked about 5 feet off the retaining wall. So we're having to bring in an engineering firm to relook at that and check it and do testing to see how much of that retaining wall we're gonna have to remove and replace, and then also do the guardrail.
Did we know who did that, or?
No, and didn't
just
have a
happened?
police report. It was back in February, some of it was snow, so
Yeah.
it was one that truck pushed up against it, kept going, and
Yep,
never, so it was.
Never stopped.
He never stopped, hit and run, and
okay,
so we'll be taking that on ourselves.
okay.
Is there any way to build it in a manner which might prevent it from happening again?
That's what our engineering will look at to
Okay.
see if going back with just a standard guardrail there, or maybe coming back with a concrete barrier up behind the curb. We'll look at that and see what they recommend.
Other questions? Item 8 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a lease license agreement with the state of Tennessee for the 2 gateway monument signs on State Route 1 Lowry Street.
Right, this is for the 2 gateway signs that we're looking to install. This will be a no-fee, 10-year renewable lease license agreement with the state for those locations.
What are we looking at timeline on those? I know we've talked about them for quite a
Oh,
while.
we're about to the point that we're going to get the sample materials in and just need to have you look at those and approve. But like I said, getting this part of it done now, our consultant can start getting the samples and mock-ups of the signs.
Great. Item 9 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Volunteer Paving for construction services for the Rock Springs Road over Harts Branch Bridge project.
Right, this is part of the sidewalk project from Front Street down to Mason Tucker, and this will be adding the sidewalk to the east side of the bridge and also doing some minor repairs as noted in the TDOT inspection reports.
This
Right.
is use the existing bridge, correct?
Right, all we're gonna do is, currently, there's rail with 3-foot sidewalk curbs on it. We'll be taking 3 foot off one side and moving it to the other side so we can get a 5-foot sidewalk in there, and we'll get an extra foot of roadway. But the bridge out to out will not change.
Only because it's in the same area, it made me think of it. In front of Colony Square, the new townhomes that are there,
Yes, ma'am.
there is an iron fence that goes around. Is that already starting to rust out? Have y'all noticed that?
It looks like it's starting to get some red just by driving by. It just looks like I haven't been up close enough to see if it's rusting or if that's just corrosion on it or what that
Right.
is, but.
Is that something we can, I mean, because that was obviously something they had to put up.
Right.
Right? Is that something we can look at?
Right, well, we'll look,
Okay.
Tom and I'll get that and
Okay.
we'll look
I
at
just
it.
noticed it a couple of times driving by and I thought, ooh, I
Right, I
hope that's
noticed
not
it,
already
yeah,
rusting
yeah,
out.
today that is starting to get a orange tint to
Yeah.
it. That is, if that's just paint turning or if it is starting to corrode.
That's what I was wondering too. Okay, we'll move on to item 10, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute the proposal with Hayworth, Mayor, Boland Professional Engineers LLC for construction, engineering, and inspection services for the Rock Springs Road over Harts Branch Bridge project.
Right, this is just the CEI engineering firm to do our materials testing and oversight.
Questions on the CEI services for this? Okay, item 11 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an annual agreement with TDOT relative to the town being reimbursed for mowing, road repairs, and litter pickup along all state routes in the town limits.
Thank you, Mayor Council. This is our annual contract with TDOT. The amount is stayed the same. They didn't increase anything as far as reimbursable amounts, and we did not increase the linear miles of state roadway in the town of Smyrna limits. I did talk to them about next fiscal year when Jefferson Pike widening is completed, that they will be adding that in after it's done. But, so we may have a little bit of work to do on it before next annual contract comes through.
Questions for Tom on this?
So Tom, are we already currently doing the Jefferson Pike mowing? I mean, those medians are terribly high.
No, that's the responsibility of the contractor this time, and they probably have it in the budget to mow it maybe once a month or once every 3 months.
It looks like 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a couple of questions, Tom. So, does this cover our cost for these roads?
No.
Yeah, I would expect not. I was just wondering, do you have an idea? You have a concept of how much?
I
And
have to look into
Yeah, if
it.
you don't, if you just let me know, I'm just curious. And then the second thing is, obviously they're not going up, but I promise you, mow companies want to get paid more.
Right.
So when they don't go up and it's already not covering our cost, we're having to make up the difference. And if it costs us more, we're going to make up even more difference. So
Right.
just kind of pointing that out, that we're not made whole with this agreement.
No, and I guess it comes to like a standard that we want to keep, obviously
Yeah.
we want to keep it mowed more
Right.
often, so that's more effort put into it.
Yeah, we could
equipment and
we could
time.
cut it back and stay inside of
Right.
it, but we do more to try to make it look better, which costs
Right.
us more. Right. I got you. Thank you.
Yes.
Other questions? Okay. Item 12 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Hawkins Asphalt Paving LLC to perform milling and resurfacing on various roads during fiscal year 2025.
Thank you. We had 7 respondents to our milling and resurfacing. I evaluated the bids that come in. Typically, most of our expenditure comes from the grading E roadway mix, as well as 1.5 inch of cold planing. So taking those unit costs and putting them into previous roadways that we've milled and resurfaced in the past. Evaluating each of the respondents, Hawkins Paving was the lowest responsive bidder.
Have we used them before?
Yes, I think the last 2 year, well, maybe longer than that. I think the last 4 years
Oh,
we've
okay.
used them.
Questions for Tom on that? Okay. Item 13 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Sessions Paving to oversee our annual road repair and maintenance contract.
So we went out to bid for annual road repair, which is a large pothole repair, and we only had one respondent, Sessions Paving. We had some issues with them in the past and had broken a contract with them. Well, they broke the contract with us. It's last several times we bid this out, we only had one respondent, and it's always been Sessions. So I'm going to give them an opportunity to come in here and do it the right way. We do have a clause in there for like 90 days. Once we give them a repair that needs to be made, they have to complete that within 90 days. If they don't complete that in 90 days, I will then forego the contract and go out to find another company who can do the work.
Questions for Tom on Sessions?
So pothole filling and milling and resurfaces are just, resurfacing are just two completely different. I mean, I understand the difference in them and everything, but they don't, one doesn't lend itself to ease in doing the other.
Not really, milling, well, with a pothole repair, it could be like a sinkhole open up or some failure to the road, a substructure issue. A lot of times when we get we get county roads in, sometimes that they are not built properly, so we have, like if you've ever driven down the road where like the outside part of the lane is just very gatered up and your vehicle like kind of sinks into it, those are the kind of repairs that require additional excavation, usually a couple of feet excavation, putting large rock in, and that's when we would get a company like Sessions to come in and dig that out and do the repair. Milling resurfacing is just kind of removing the old asphalt that's failing. It may be gatered up, but it's not a substructure issue. It's just a superficial issue, so that would fall under the milling and resurfacing.
Ron, the last time you used them, were you happy with them, or was that one of the times that we had to do some issues?
So I was fixing to ask that question because my recollection is this was related to Front Street, were they not? Weren't they?
This was related to Rock Springs Road from like Walden Road going out of town. We wanted them to make a certain type of repair because there were failures, and they couldn't do it because of some shallowness of a gas main that was installed. Atmos, I think it was Atmos Energy, had a gas main about 12 inches deep. We needed them to excavate down to about 2 feet deep. They had a different methodology that would repair it. They guaranteed the work. They came in there and they dug it out and they did the work. It started to fail about 2 months later. We informed them about it. They didn't come out and fix it. Finally, I was able to get a hold of the president of the company, and he assured me he was going to make it right. He did make it right. He came out and he fixed those places that were failing, that were still under warranty. He made the repairs, and he was very apologetic, very sincere. I told him I'd give him one more shot, but if they don't meet their contract requirements within 90 days of being told that there's a repair to be made, I was going to break their contract with them, or their contract would be broken.
This was the last time we used them, is that correct, or have we used them since then? And
That was the last time that I've used them. Yes.
But he came out and made it right, and we feel like there's stuff in the contract this time, so.
So these estimated units, obviously, we came up with these numbers. If it goes above that, the unit price still applies to the additional units. Is that how it works?
Yes, it's based on a general square yardage, but it's based on that vertical, each alternative is based on the vertical repair. So it could be more superficial, it could be a deeper repair, so that's why you get the difference in the amounts for each one. But yeah, it could be 500 square feet, it could be, or square yards, it could be 2,000 square yards.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we don't know where potholes are gonna show up, or we'd fix them ahead of time, right? So,
Yeah.
And like, I'm thinking about like Rock Springs Road, we had to do quite a bit of shoring up out there in the last year, which probably, we could have planned for some of that, but not all of that, right? So
Yes.
that's what I was trying to get at, is how do they, this is a $50,000 basically estimate. I mean, obviously, that's a moving target, right? But the point is we get the same unit price, no matter
Correct.
how much bigger it goes or smaller it goes, right?
Correct, yes.
Got it.
Other questions? Okay, we'll move on to item 14, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Rutherford County to maintain traffic signals at I-840 and State Route 266 and I-840 and State Route 452.
Thank you, Mayor. The county does have some traffic signals out in the county area. They ask municipalities to maintain them for them, so Murfreesboro maintains some of them. They ask Smyrna to maintain others. These are the two, like one at 840 and Jefferson Pike, and then one up at Bill France. So we will be just maintaining that, putting it on a schedule to go out and regularly clean and make sure that the controls are working properly. If anything needs to be repaired, we'll repair it and then send them a bill on it.
Send the county a bill?
Yes.
How far outside the city limits is the Bill France one?
Well, I mean, it's,
It's right there.
if you go up Mona Road and it's a few miles, like 3 or 4 miles from the closest part. Was it about right, Kevin? About 4 miles, okay.
Okay. Item 15 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a one-year extension agreement with Rollins Construction for concrete repairs.
Thank you. They are currently under contract for concrete repairs, could be sidewalk, curbing, things such as that. And this is extending their contract from July 1 of this year to June 30th of 2025.
Questions for Tom on this one?
Hey, Tom, not so much on this one, but I had a question today about the completion of the truncated domes, like over in the Rosemont area. Looks like they've dug up some corners of curbing. Do you know anything about that? And over by Stewartsboro School?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yes, part of our ADA self-evaluation, there were several ramps along Old Nashville Highway from Lennox subdivision, so we're digging those out, going north toward Hazelwood. We're going to be removing that, as well as some sections of sidewalk and bringing them up to ADA compliance.
Is that in the works, and do we know how long that will take to complete?
I'm not sure. I have to talk to them, and I can email you and let you know.
Would
but,
you? That'd be great. I
we're
had a
doing-
call on it, I'd just like to answer back.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
great.
let you know.
Thanks.
Other questions for Tom on this? Okay, we'll move on to item 16, which is consideration of an ordinance relative to an amendment to Title 12, Building and Utility Codes, Chapter 11, Electric Code, Section 12-1102, modifications. Christie?
Mayor Council, this is an amendment to the municipal code, the electrical section, which would establish the regulations for the grounding installations in single-family dwellings in the town of Smyrna. So,
Any questions on this change? Okay, we'll put that on the agenda. And we'll move on to item 17, which is consideration of an ordinance relative to the amendment to Title 8, Alcoholic Beverages, Chapter 3, Retail Sales of Alcoholic Beverages, Section 8-327, Regulation of Sales.
Mayor, this would conform the retail sale of alcohol, which is currently forbidden under the code on Sundays, to comport with the change in 2018, the state law that allowed it on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. I think it's just an oversight. Somebody pointed out that it didn't change along with the 2018 state law.
I'm sure it's been being allowed, just that we
Yeah,
don't have it.
I did a Google search and they are operating currently, at least they're listed as operating on
Okay.
Sundays.
This is packaged liquor.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Questions on this? Okay, we'll get that all cleaned up. Item 18 is consideration of an ordinance to amend Title I, General Administration, Chapter 1, Town Council, Section 1-104, Order of Business, relative to an update to the town citizen comment policy.
Mayor, this changes the notice for citizen comments on the town council. It changes it from Thursday before the meeting to the last business day before the meeting. There was a particular issue that came up recently about this, about not, people complaining about not having proper time and notice to be put on the list. And then in addition to that, the last paragraph omits language regarding the recordation of citizen remarks, it's moot at this point because they're recorded online live, so that's just been removed.
So I kind of wanted to have a little bit of discussion about this. I never want citizens to feel like they can't come and address us as council. I mean, there's so many things that may come up, if they have questions or ideas, and I want to make sure that citizens feel like they have an opportunity to be heard. One of the things that we want to make sure is that they see what the agenda is first, and then are able to decide if they want to be put on for citizens' comments. So that's why usually, I think it says the agendas have to be out 48 hours prior to the meeting. So if they have to be out 48 hours, we wanted to make sure that they have at least 24 hours to look over the agenda prior to being able to get signed up. One thing in the past, and I just wanted to see where you all stand on this. In the past, we've not really, not that we've not allowed, it's just that at the workshop, we've not really had citizens' comments and only had them at council meetings. What's y'all's feelings about it? Does it bother you if we allow citizens' comments at the workshop as well?
I'm just so used to doing it the other way, but I guess I'm always open to the change if council felt that it was important to do it. What I'd want to be sure of is though, if they took the opportunity to do it at workshop, we weren't going to listen to it again at council. You know, it's like, we don't need to be double dipped there. Make your point and do it at either or. I think that'd be fine.
I guess I just want to make sure citizens feel like they have access to us. And I know we all are really good about whether it's answering emails or Facebook messages or phone calls, but I just don't want a citizen to feel like they don't have an opportunity.
I personally think I would like it better if they could come to workshop, because we're setting the agenda for the next council meeting. If we don't hear from them until the day of the council meeting, we may not know the issues or the concerns that they have, and we really have no time to do any research or get any more information before we've got to vote. By doing it at the workshop, we're 2 weeks ahead of that. And so if they bring up concerns or issues that we need to do some more digging into, we have time to do that before the actual vote. So I like it at the workshop, and honestly would welcome it more at the workshop than at the council meeting.
Great
Because
point.
the council meeting, by that time, we've already talked about it a couple of times. We're a few minutes from a vote. I'm not saying that comments don't matter then, but it's a lot less opportunity for us to do any research or consider other alternatives if we've just heard about them. If we hear about them 2 weeks earlier, it's a whole lot easier.
Well, not that time matters. We've had short meetings and we've had long meetings.
Right.
But the workshop lends to be the shorter meetings. So if you're gonna have open discussion at those, it kind of helps curtail the length of a council meeting.
But, so if you all are not opposed, I'd like to see it at both meetings, at workshop and at council, that they have that opportunity. Same thing, still 3 minutes, still have to get on the agenda, call in 24, at least 24 hours before.
State their purpose.
What? Yeah, and they have to state their purpose. Amber, what else is it, what all do they have to, if they call in to get on the agenda?
Set it 24 hours in advance at least, or the last business day prior to, because there may be some that fall holidays. They have to state their name, address, and then the purpose of what they're wanting to address the council for.
Great. So if you all are okay with that, and,
Would they still also be limited to 3 minutes like we did
Correct.
the other?
Yes,
Yeah,
all
okay.
of the rules would still apply.
Yeah, I got you.
Jeffrey?
And I just want to make sure too, and I believe you want it to be open to anything that they want to speak of.
anything they want to speak about. I mean, I know there have been some other boards that have looked at only doing what is on the agenda, but so many times I
Sure.
feel like there's things that it's something new that we may not be thinking about, and they
Sure,
want to
and
have
that's right.
discussion.
We just want to point that out.
Yes,
State law
absolutely.
says it can be restricted to only subject matter of the agenda items, but traditionally, when we do public comments, we've always opened it up to whatever the citizens would like to talk
Yeah.
about, so I just wanted to point that
I
out.
want to make sure that we're still doing that.
I actually like that. I like that a lot better than I think not having it. To me, it's a more opportunity to hear concern.
Right.
And honestly, it seems like it may take some of the emotion and animosity out of the comments we get at council meeting, because it won't be like this is the only opportunity we've had to tell you.
Right.
And that may help kind of ease some of those tensions that we've seen recently, because there is another opportunity to speak in between council meetings and get your point across or bring up issues that we maybe aren't considering.
Great. Okay, and citizen comments is allowed at each one of our board meetings as well, and it's the same, is it the same process for each, whether it's planning commission, BZA, or any other board?
That's our
Okay.
blanket policy.
Okay. Okay, other questions on this? Okay. Item 19 is consideration of an ordinance adopting the property tax rate for fiscal year 2024, 2025, and this is a second reading. Hey, Rex.
Hello, Mayor and Council. The tax rate ordinance establishes the property tax rate for fiscal year 24 and 25. We're happy to make the recommendation for the tax rate to remain the same as it was the prior year at 52.57 cents on each $100 of assessed taxable property.
Questions for Rex on tax rate?
That's 2 years running that it stayed the same, but essentially, the year before that was when we had the reassessment, is that correct? And we dropped it?
Recertified tax rate.
Yes.
Yeah, we've had several over the years, but the purpose of that is for it to essentially remain neutral.
Right.
Okay.
Rex, are you seeing any, with our budget, I know we had a good budget, we feel like our tax revenue is gonna be substantially good for our budget and that kind of thing, but with all the cost, inflationary costs, you, as a finance director, what's your gut on that? Are we in a good position still?
I think we are. I mean, at the retreat, we kind of showed where unless there's something that's really major unforeseen to arise, that we have enough to pay for capital projects going into the future. And if we keep doing business the way that we have, I don't see any need for a tax rate in the following year.
We have a lot of infrastructure needs and improvements that have to come soon. We all know that. We're working on that as we speak. But I was just curious to see what your thoughts were on it.
And there's only so many projects that staff can manage anyway. So I think we're staying in the game.
Thanks for staying on top of it.
Item 20 is consideration of an ordinance adopting the budget for fiscal year 2024, 2025, and this will be a second reading as well.
Mayor and Council, there's no, well, there was some changes, but they've been itemized in your packet here from the first read to the second read. And all these have been posted, the budget's been posted on the town's website, and there's nothing substantial to be budgeted change.
Questions on any of the changes?
No, well, yeah, I guess there's a couple that were decreased, like pursuit vehicle, Fire Station 1 funding that we're decreasing. We're adding it back to the impact fee fund that's associated. Is that the way I'm reading this?
All right, which one?
When we first had the budget at the retreat, we had several changes to make, which makes us have to go back and change maybe the funding source so that we don't have to have, so that we have a surplus in our budget in the general fund. Most of these decreases in the expenses were at the request of the department heads because they just don't need the money.
Yeah, okay.
Questions on that? Okay. We will put the budget on the agenda. Item 21, consideration of an ordinance relative to a budget amendment for fiscal year 2024, and that this also will be a second reading.
Yes, ma'am. These are the fiscal year 2024 budget amendments. You've seen these for a while. We have one that's not been requested, that's not in your packet. It's for the event center. They need an additional $4,500 for the repair and maintenance account, 269. And I'll be glad to add that and update that for Amber to
Okay.
distribute to you.
Okay. Questions for Rex on that? Okay, we'll move on to item 22, which is consideration of a resolution relative to a plan of services for property located on tax map 73, parcels 16.01, 16.02, and 17.00.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is the plan of services. It's for the annexation, which is the next item on your agenda. This does put in writing the services that the town would be providing upon the effective date of annexation of the requested properties, which would be everything except for water, which would be provided by a consolidated utility district. Sewer will be provided via extension of the wastewater mains to the property by the property owners, with a lift station to be placed on the property of the church. Those properties will be served by the Stewart's Creek sewer main once that is completed.
Questions for Kevin on the plan of services? No questions on the plan of services. Let's move on to 23, which is the ordinance relative to annexation and PRD zoning of the property we just talked about, located on tax map 73, parcels 16.01, 16.02, and 17.00, requested by Kyle Griffin with CSDG on behalf of Delary D. and Teresa S. Silvas, and First Baptist Church of Smyrna, Tennessee, containing 109.65 acres. The properties are located at 5100 Amaville Road and 7441 Rocky Fork Amaville Road, and this is a second reading.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is the request which you all have seen on first reading. Nothing has changed since first reading. This is for 3 different properties that do total the 109.65 acres. They're on Amaville Road as well as Rocky Fork Amaville Road, kind of in the area kind of connecting those two, where the intersection of those 2 roads occurs. Land use plan would support medium density, single family residential in this area. Surrounding zoning is the Briley Downs and Linwood PRDs in town and RM in Rutherford County. Again, as I stated earlier, the town would be providing all services except for water, which would be provided by CUD, and they have issued a will serve letter regarding some off-site improvements that would be necessary to meet fire flow requirements. In addition to the requested property, staff did recommend the annexation of approximately 2,230 feet of the existing right-of-way of Rocky Fork Allenville Road from the current town limits to the SR 102 Allenville Road intersection. This proposed PRD is for 27 villas or duplexes, which is 54 total units, and 166 single-family lots that would be age-restricted, as well as an additional 98 single-family lots for a total of 318 residents on 95.65 acres. The remaining 14 acres would be zoned R1 and is the location of Life Point Church, Stewart's Creek. Access would be from Rocky Fork Elmville Road, as well as the adjoining Briley Downs development for the age-restricted portion of this development, and from Elmville Road, Drew Street, and the adjacent Briley Downs and Linwood developments for the 98 non-age-restricted lots. The streets within the age-restricted area would be private with a gate at the entrance from Rocky Fork Elmville Road. All requirements of the town with regard to open space parking and setbacks would be met. The Planning Commission did recommend approval of this with 3 conditions. 1, a traffic study is required. Any improvements recommended by that study must be completed by the developer. The requirements regarding fire flow are 1,000 gallons per minute, 20 psi for the residential piece, and it might be greater depending for the amenities center building, depending on the capacity of the building and type of construction. And this development will require submittal for a floodplain development permit, as there is a small area of this property that is affected by the 100-year floodplain. So with those conditions, staff would also recommend approval.
Questions for Kevin on this?
Kevin, where's Drew Street?
Drew Street is an existing county street, which will be kind of to the south. It's actually, I think, Drew Street actually runs parallel from Allenville Road. There's another street.
I see
that will
it
be-
now. Okay,
yeah.
I see it.
Yeah.
Other questions?
Kevin, real quick, we talked a little bit about this. I think HG brought it up at the last meeting. The question that I don't know that we ever really heard the answer to was that this bottom section that's kind of fed by a separate entrance that I believe is the senior housing at the bottom. Is that correct?
No, that's, the senior housing is the part on top.
Okay, so either way, the bottom piece does not appear to have connectivity to the upper piece,
That's correct.
but the amenities are all in the upper piece. So how is that going to be handled with a gated area and people all in the same subdivision, but amenities are possibly behind a gate?
Yeah, and I don't know that the developer has really provided an answer to that, because there is no, that development is going to be connected to Linwood and Briley Downs, but it's not gonna be a part of those developments.
Right.
At least as it's being presented, it's not gonna be. And so that area, those 98 lots, there's not shown any connection to, obviously not a road connection, but there's not even a sidewalk or pedestrian type connection to those amenities. You know, there's gonna be quite a bit of amenities within that, the age restricted portion of it, for sure, for certain. But there's not a connection between those two, so.
So will they pay HOA dues?
You know, there's gonna be, there will be some common areas in there.
Well, there's an amenity
There's two
area down in the bottom right.
Yeah,
The
there's
bottom
two
right,
amenity
there's a small
areas
area
down there,
there,
but the
but-
pool and everything else is up top.
So my assumption, based on just looking at it, is that they would almost be, even though it's coming in together, it's almost gonna be developed like two separate developments. Because you're gonna have the age restricted portion and you're gonna have the non-age restricted portion.
And the gated parts are the two, there's gonna be two gates?
Oh, really on the, just on the Rocky Fork Elmville Road entrance.
So the secondary entrance coming from what will be Brawley Downs at some point
Would not
wouldn't-
be gated.
would no longer be gated once that develops?
It would not be gated and it would only, the roads would become a private road, but it would not be gated there.
There's a similarity to this in other places. I think it's over in the Vineyards, for example, in Potts Crossing. There are two different HOAs in there. One allows pool use, the other one doesn't. So that may be what they're thinking here. I
It
don't
may
know.
be,
Yeah.
it may be the same. You're right.
The costs
Yeah.
are different as well.
Is there, I don't know why I had thought that there was a access to Elmville Road from that lower section, but it doesn't appear there is. So
And the
will
pan-
all access of that be through Drew Street, down Dale and Woodland
There
Trail?
would be an access to Elmville
Yeah,
Road.
in the plan book, it's right there, there, it's on there beside the
Plan
church.
Stub Road.
Okay, it's just not in,
Yeah,
well,
no, she's talking about here.
not where we're here.
But isn't there a lift station or something right there in that corner of that property?
There will be, at least temporarily, there is gonna be a lift station on the, actually on the remaining property that the church would keep ownership of
So
until the Stewart's Creek Basin is
So obviously the
completed.
road and we'll have to work around that or vice versa.
Right.
Kevin, on the bottom section there, it looks like some's in pink, some's in blue. The blue looks a little bit smaller. Is it just the way the picture is, and they're all the same thing, or?
No, there are different sizes.
They're all single family, that's the different lot sizes, and I can't recall
There it
exactly.
is. 45 foot is the blue and the
Yeah.
55 foot
Okay.
is
Yeah.
the red or the pink.
Yeah, they're just different lot
So
widths.
the
There's-
blue
they're
is
all
actually smaller.
Single family, yeah.
it's-
It looks like it's.
Yeah.
The blue is small, yeah.
Yeah, see right there. Yeah, in this picture, the tan are the age restricted and the white are the, I'm sorry, the white are the age restricted and the tan are villas.
The age restricted village, yes.
Yeah, so pretty much everything except the pink and the blue is age restricted.
Correct.
Other questions? Kevin, some of the questions we have, can you check to see if you can find out?
Sure.
Before our meeting? If you do, if you could just send us an email and let us know.
Sure.
Okay, item 20, no, that was 23. Item 24 is consideration of a resolution and memorandum of ordinance 24-15 relative to the annexation and rezoning of certain property on tax map 73, parcels 16.01, 16.02, and 17.
I don't have anything additional to that. That's just the
Oh,
memorandum.
yes, the
of
housekeeping,
the
sorry.
resolution, right.
Thank you for reminding me of that.
Sure.
Item 25 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Kimberly Horn and Associates relative to professional services for the update to the major thoroughfare plan and bicycle and pedestrian plan.
So this is a project that we have had budgeted in the current budget year, the one ending June 30th. We did delayed the hiring of the consultant because we were going for the grant from TDOT. We were unsuccessful getting the grant, and so we do want to move forward with this, funding this entirely but with town funds. We did put out a request for qualifications on this. Did receive two firms did submit, and there was a review committee of myself, Charles King and Mike Moss did review those and did recommend Kimley Horner and Associates for this work. Did include the contract, or a draft contract and scope of work was included in there. The agenda summary did not include the fee, but I can add that, just point that out. It is $194,200 is the not-to-exceed fee for the performing of this work. And so we would recommend this to you.
Questions for Kevin on this? How long does this process usually take, remind me?
I believe they, between 9 months to a year, I think is the total time, yeah. And there will be, is within the scope, as you can see there, there will be public meetings and opportunities for online polls and things like that as well.
Yeah. Okay, questions for Kevin on this? Okay, we will put that on the agenda. And item 26, consideration of de-annexation of properties located at 4250 and 4248 Rock Springs Road. I think all of us had received emails about a citizen asking to be de-annexed, and I asked for it to go ahead and be put on the workshop agenda so we could have some discussion on it. Kevin and I have had some discussion about this, and I had to ask when was the last time that we've actually done this, and Kevin, I think you said what about?
Well, we had one a few years ago, and it was in a different scenario than this. It was there was a development that was underway. They did a little bit of a land swap with an adjoining parcel that was not in Smyrna town limits. And when the land swap occurred, we basically annexed the area that was going to become part of the development and de-annexed the area that was being removed from the development. That's the only one that has happened in my time here. I am aware that there was I think, sometime in the 90s, I think there was another situation where Smyrna and Laverne, there was kind of a movement of the line regarding up the old Jefferson Pike Bridge up over there off of Lowry Street. But, so it's not something we do a lot of.
Yeah. So, can you talk a little bit about the history of this piece of property and when it came into the city and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, it was annexed in 1998. It went to the Planning Commission April of 98. So it does predate my time here, but it was actually this property and the property directly to the west were requested to be annexed at that time. They were annexed after they were actually part of the city of Laverne at that time, and they were de-annexed from Laverne and then were annexed into Smyrna in 1998.
Is that by request?
That was by request of the property owners. Same property owners with this as the property that's under question tonight was the same property owners. The property to the west was actually a different owner at that time, but they were both requested to be annexed into Smyrna.
But the other property is not asking to be de-annexed,
No.
only this property?
That's correct.
Okay.
Is the section, the property in the orange thatched area, is that Laverne city limits or is that county?
That is Laverne city limits.
So there is no county only zoning adjacent to this property at all?
That's correct. I think only thing that's, if you go to the east and on the opposite side of Rock Springs Road, that's part of Dr. Burns' property there. As you go down to the east,
see where it says
there's
Walnut
the
Ridge,
red hatched area.
Yeah, yeah.
That is in the county. That's the only area of Rock Springs Road that is not in Smyrna, other than the tracts of land that have access to Waldron Road.
But to be fair, that area has never been asked to be annexed, right?
That is correct.
Okay, talk about, so I think we've all read the emails that we've gotten from this property owner as to the reasons in which they want to be de-annexed. Kevin, can you talk a little bit about staff and their concerns?
Well, I did look at it just from a service delivery standpoint, you know, as Smyrna property, the fire hall we have is about 1.8 miles away. The nearest one in Laverne is about 2.8 miles. The road is in Smyrna. Obviously, that would not change if this property is de-annexed. They are on our water system. From a response standpoint, emergency services, if Laverne would have to leave, it's a mile further away, they have to leave Laverne to come into Smyrna to access this property because there is no other access to it, even though it is adjacent to Laverne on the north property line as far as the town, their city limits are. But so from a service delivery standpoint, especially the emergency services, it makes more sense to me for it to be in Smyrna than Laverne.
We keep talking about Laverne, but if it's de-annexed, it goes back to the county and not back to Laverne, so we don't know for sure.
That's true. It's not automatically into Laverne. Laverne would have to choose to annex the property, yes.
Okay.
Do we, and maybe, I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but why did they leave Laverne to start with?
I do not know the answer.
If they
to
were
that.
in Laverne before, they left Laverne, came to Smyrna, and now they want to go back to Laverne,
Or just out of Smyrna.
or just out of Smyrna.
No, they said they want to go back. In the emails, it says that they want to go back to Laverne.
I do not know. Again, I wasn't employed here at the time. I don't know what in the record, the minutes don't reflect
Are they
any
on-
reasoning
do-
why. It's just that they requested.
Do we know if they get town water? I know
They do,
that-
right?
Not sewer, right?
They're not on the sewer system, they're on water.
And maybe gas, do we know about that?
I do not know.
I guess my other concern about this is if we de-annex them, and right now, they said in the email they have no plans to sell, but if down the road they do decide to sell, we have no say-so in what happens to that piece of property, so.
I think that's what makes me the most nervous. You know, literally in the same meeting last month, in the same community, we had dozens of people up in arms about a development in city limits and how it was gonna look and how it was gonna affect their community. De-annexing this property and potentially leaving it in the county, I mean, 10 acres could develop however the county allowed it, with the city having no input, and the same neighbors would be the ones impacted. So, I mean, that's my thing is, I'm looking at this, what's best for the town. If they were not annexed and they wanted to stay unannexed, like Dr. Burns's property, that's a different conversation. But in this case, they're already partaking in services, they've already been getting services, and now they're gonna create an isolated situation where it's gonna be quite confusing, I think. Even for police services, not just fire, but if Laverne or county would have to drive significantly into Smyrna to be able to get to this piece of property.
So do they lose their plan of services from the town in the same breath?
Well, they would still be on our water system. They would have
At the
to
same rate?
They would be paying a higher rate on their water bill because they would be outside.
But they'd be outside.
They would be outside customers at that point.
Yeah.
But they would still have the water, but as far as any police or fire protection, unless I guess there was some sort of mutual aid called in or something like that.
That'd have to be either county or Laverne.
It would be county or Laverne. Yeah.
So, yeah. I know that, I don't know if it's a business they have there, but has that ever been a code issue or anything that we know of? There's been flags flying on that yard for a good while, hiring bus drivers and so forth. So I'm just wondering if this might be some of their motivation. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the codes department has pursued anything with them on any other those issues. I'm not aware of any. But that's, they do have, which they're allowed to have under our municipal code, I know, to have the buses stored there, because they have over 5 acres.
Are the festoons permitted?
No, they would not be, and because they're in a
Well,
residential
they've
area.
been there for a while, and that's why I'm asking. I don't know if that's part of the motivation here. I just
Right.
don't know. I got the same email, and I didn't ask that question, so I'm asking it now.
Jeff, or Kevin, either one, talk to us a little bit about the process if a council member wants to look into this. What is the process of allowing somebody to de-annex?
So the only two options that the council has is council action. So a citizen in this type of situation cannot petition to do to be de-annexed. It's got to be on the council's own volition and by a majority of the membership. So not a majority at the meeting, but a majority of the membership. So the first way is just simple majority, just like you do any other ordinance. We'd have 2 readings. Second readings, you'd have a public hearing, and then you could either vote to de-annex it at that time. The other option that you have is still by ordinance, but it would be to place it on the ballot for a referendum.
For all the citizens to vote on?
Yes. Yes, I believe so. Otherwise, you'd only have one person voting.
Correct.
That,
There's a lot of language it's called contraction in the law. And it was really built for large areas to be de-annexed because it
that's kind of what I was
allows
thinking.
for,
It seems like it would be geared more
Right.
for like a larger area of the town.
it
wanting to
allows
be
for 10% of the
separated.
people affected to try to fight being de-annexed. Not fight to get de-annexed, but fight being de-annexed. And so typically, you know, the only way that I have seen is just by a majority of a council by ordinance. Just because of the cost involved and everything with
Doing the
ballot
referendum.
measures and those types of things.
Nobody's gonna.
Doesn't have
So-
to go back to the planning commission at any point? They don't have to approve it?
No.
It's not required, no.
So Kevin, what is staff's recommendation to council in regards to this?
I mean, as your planner, I would recommend against the de-annexation.
Okay. So, council questions at this point?
So what's the next step in this consideration at this point? Do we decide whether to place it on the agenda for future? Do we just bring it up in the future, or we decide now whether we want to hear any more? What's the conversation?
Correct. Because this is totally initiated by the town council, you would need to let staff know whether you want there to be an ordinance placed on the agenda to be voted upon to de-annex.
So does anybody have a desire to place this on the agenda to be voted on? Okay. Then we will not place that on the agenda, and we will move on to item 27, which is other. Anything under other? Okay. The birthday boy? Nothing? Kevin? Charles? Mark? Jeff? Tom? Rex? Mike? Carl? Christie? Todd? Chief? Heather? Chief? Amber?
Couple things.
Okay.
We got a little thank you note from Andy and Lori Miller. I just wanted to read it to you guys. It says, "Thank you so much for the support of the Miller family. The flower is beautiful and we hope to enjoy it for years to come. In his name, Andy and Lori Miller." So I wanted to make sure you all got that message. And then I actually have one slide. I know we have a lot of events coming up, getting into the spring, late spring and summer, but I did want to go ahead and let everybody know that for my portion of this, for September 13th, Friday, September 13th at 7:30, registration for the Top Gun Night Run is open. The website is live and it's active. I think we already have about, I think, close to 60 runners that have registered, so this is quickly becoming a popular event in the community. It's a night race, and we have fun with that. There's the band and the stage out there and giveaways, and a good time is had by all. So if you want to get registered for that, now is the time to go ahead and secure your spot.
Great. Jeffrey L.?
Yes, first to answer your question that I was a little shaky on there before, it takes 3/4 of the qualified voters. So it's a supermajority, basically, of the qualified voters to approve a de-annexation by referendum.
Wait, three-quarters of what? Qualified voters or three-quarters of?
Of the voters that
Of the
are voting.
voters that vote?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay.
not just of the ones who are in the affected area.
Correct. Of all those that show up to the election.
Okay.
All right, first before I have a slide, I received a nice note from a lady that commented that Officer Dixon interacted with her 10-year-old son during a tense situation and left a very positive opinion of police with her son, and she really appreciated that. So good job for Officer Dixon. That one interaction can really affect a young person on how they feel about the police, and the next police officer that deals with folks can be a beneficiary of that. So my first slide here is Memorial Day. On Memorial Day, we honored and remembered the fallen soldiers at the Captain Jeff Coos Memorial. Chief Master Sergeant Joseph Vallette gave a riveting rendition of I Am the Flag. Nancy List sang the Star Spangled Banner and America the Beautiful, and Commander Darrell Burke offered his remarks. We thank you to all who attended the ceremony, and special thanks to the Smyrna Fire Department Honor Guard and the Smyrna Police as well. Next, the Athena Awards. Join us in congratulating Councilmember Raquel Peebles for her recognition as a 2024 Rutherford Athena Award nominee. Councilwoman Peebles was nominated for the honor by Middle Tennessee Laureates Association for Women. We had, as you can see there in the photo, we had quite a few people at our table there in support. And then lastly, we have 2 new canines. Please help us welcome the newest members. Officer Tucker is there with his dog, or canine, I shouldn't say dog, I guess, canine Balder, and Officer Godby has his canine Rinsky. And so if you'll notice, Balder is a German Shepherd, and Rinsky is a Malinois. So obviously the Shepherd is better.
Is Jax a canine or a dog?
He
a little
is
boy.
He's a person. But congratulations to them, and we're glad to have the four-legged officers there.
Is that it?
That is all from me.
Okay. Ben, anything tonight?
No, ma'am.
Ben, I like that tie.
I do too.
Good.
I had another one that I was gonna wear, but I like this one better.
Next sheet.
I really enjoyed the Memorial Day ceremony the other day. Y'all did a terrific job on that. It was quite moving, and I think that it ranks up there with the best, with the singing and the speaking and everything. It was really good. But how do you know when summer is approaching? You have Memorial Day, the kids are out of school, and then you have Simply Smyrna. And Simply Smyrna is the first of our events which occur downtown at the depot area, June 8th, this Saturday, 5 to 9:30 p.m. Lots of good live music. There's 5 stages, and they really do a terrific job. There'll be craft beer and wine tasting, 80 vendors, food trucks, a VIP experience. Costs nothing, free admission. Join us at the heart of the Depot District for a free, family-friendly event featuring live music, vendors, and more. Good time, have ball.
Will you do?
Oh, we got out of sorts.
We did, but that's okay. It was because,
I don't know what's on the
some
screen
of
versus
our-
what we're seeing.
Well, this one is this Saturday, and then there's that one, and then this other one I've got. So yeah,
will you
Steve, go
talk a
now.
little bit about Juneteenth?
Yeah, so also on, I guess, Saturday, June 15th at Hilltop Rosenwald Park, from 2 to 8 is the Smyrna Juneteenth presentation, celebration that our committee put together. Family friend event, includes food trucks, local vendors, activities, and kids and more. So it was confusing in the room because we could see Juneteenth on one screen, but
He was talking about music and
He was
events.
talking about music and events, and I was like, wait a minute, what are we talking about?
I'll go through mine again.
Yeah, go ahead, do it again. Get it right this time.
There we go. Boat Day. 16th Annual Boat Day, 2024. It'll be June 22nd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Kayaking, canoeing, pot painting, stormwater diorama, all ages. It is a free event. Free kayak and canoe rides for all ages. This family-friendly event educates the community on the importance of water quality and boat safety. Smyrna Outdoor Adventure Center staff will be on hand to provide instruction on operating the canoes and kayaks and information about their Paddle Adventures program. Multiple agencies will provide fun and educational hands-on activities for the kids and adults. You know, it's always a mandatory event for the town manager to be out there in a boat.
First one in the water.
I think I may take my boat and create a wake for the,
You and your person?
yes.
I caught him
person.
shopping for swimsuits the other day, so.
Outside of that, you know, Jeffrey, you didn't talk about the Love Where You Live, the litter program.
I do not have that slide.
Oh, well,
No slide needed when you sit there.
Well, we usually have that slide at the actual council meeting, I think.
if you say so,
But you are correct. Love where you
love where
live.
you live.
Let's
Don't
not,
litter.
let's not litter.
Litter.
Let's not.
I think we ought to tag on the not littering program and start a recycling program also.
I live it every day.
My daughter will have a birthday before we convene once more on June 7th. And I want to wish her a very happy birthday. Some of y'all know her. She's a fine young lady with fine children. I was thinking I need to bring my children up here and let them do the pledge also. So from there, we shop local, please. And be kind. And that's all I've got.
Jerry?
Think I have a slide? Nope.
Ah, there you go. Y'all want me to read that one again?
There we go. Todd Spearman, Heather Kent, myself, went to Stewartsboro Elementary School here recently. That's their principal, Lisa Snyder. And they did the Living Museum, and we had a great time, didn't we, Todd? Some of those, well, most of them, and all do a fantastic job, and they truly get into character. And we had some really good stories that came out of there that day. So I want to thank them for what they do over there, and also just for inviting us as well. So.
Do you think it's ironic that you were representing us in the historical museum?
We almost made it one full meeting without an age comment, didn't we? Is our HR person here?
Questions about dinosaurs and lots of stuff, right?
He didn't do
So,
Zach Lincoln's speech. 4 score.
Is that Einstein?
Anyway, we'd like to thank them for inviting us, and that's all I've got.
You know, I forgot to wish Tim happy healing, and I don't want to forget that.
I've got a couple items. Some of you in the community I know will know Robert New, passed away this week. Bob ran against me in 2016. He ran against several of us, I think, over the years, and we did not always agree on every topic, but there was lots of times we did agree, and Bob was a really, really good guy. He had a heart to serve the community, and that's what he wanted to do. That's why he ran for office several times, and he'll be missed. I saw him and Linda at our recent, I guess in March, they came up for the referendum, and I talked to them then. So prayers for Linda, and just that Bob will be missed. He sometimes he had some anecdotal humor that he would share with us. So to the new family condolences. And then also, I don't want to forget Jimmy, Casey, and Declan. Asher Sullivan did pass away a week or 10 days or so ago. And, you know, a lot of times in these kind of situations, everyone is involved while the event is occurring, and then everything kind of happens, and then everything fades away. And I just don't want to forget them in our prayers, and remember that their healing is just beginning. They've got a long way to go. I don't know if you ever heal from this, but continue to pray for the Sullivan family and their loss of their 9-year-old son. Let's see, Memorial Day this past Monday. Thank you guys for making it. I was out of town, so wasn't able to attend, but appreciate you guys handling it for me. And then I do have a slide. This one's near and dear to me. I've been asking how probably for 6 weeks, is when, and it's finally back. The executive course is finally going to be reopened Saturday, June 1st. I've already taken a cart down there and kind of drove around to see the changes, and it's relatively minor. One hole's a little shorter, the cart path rerouted, but generally it still plays the same. It's still going to be as much fun as it's always been. So June 1st, come on out. It's been tough to get on at Smyrna without it, because there's a lot of folks, and I don't think we realize how many that show up at the course knowing they can always just go play the executive course. You don't have to really have a tee time for that most of the time. And so some of those folks that are used to, you know, hey, I've got an hour and a half, I can go get 9 in. Now they're showing up the course and wanting they can't play the executive, so they want to play the big course, and there's not openings. So there's other things going on in the community that's affecting golf right now, but Smyrna is busy because of it, which is a good thing for us. But this is going to help take some of that backlog off of the main course, which is what we all like. So come on out. Also, I was asked to remind everyone that cart availability can be limited and is a first come, first serve, especially on the weekends, because of that busyness and that busy time of the year. I've been trying to help out, and some of you may have seen me out there. I've brought my own cart a couple of times now. Not sure that it's financially worth it or even worth the headache, but it's kind of fun to break it out. I drive behind Mary Esther's house to get there, which is probably not supposed to be saying that, but every time I go behind there, I try to throw a golf ball over in her yard. So if you're finding golf balls over there, it's me messing with you. So that's all I got. Thank y'all.
You left out the foot golf part.
Oh, foot golf, yes. Foot golf is also on that executive course. The holes obviously are big enough for a soccer ball, so it makes it a lot easier if you're hitting a golf ball at the wrong flag to get in the hole. But
You count that?
I don't, because I now know where they are, but there has been times I have aimed at the wrong flag, for sure.
Yeah, I'll have a slide up in a second, but I'm going to go ahead and start with a couple things. There it is. So congratulations to the Sign Language Studio. They are over on President's Place and be kind of over there beside Publix. They have recently had their grand opening. Services offered include resources for interpreting for sign language, deaf and hearing communities, and sign language classes. So if you've been interested at all about learning to sign, they actually teach signing there. Todd and Rex and Heather and myself were over there. Was that yesterday? Man, I can't keep up with my days. So congratulations to them. It's a great cause and a good need in our town. I also wanted to mention Bob New and Linda. Bob's been around a long, long time, so condolences to their family. And to the Dickerson family. Orion Dickerson passed away as well. Many of you may or may not know him. He lived over in the Oaks for a long time. May still did. I think he went to Murfreesboro. Yeah. But condolences to them. And to Tim. Tim's not here with us tonight. Raquel, I think, is on vacation. Tim is mending from knee surgery, and so he's not able to hop over here and be part of the workshop tonight, but all of our best wishes to him for a quick heal. Speaking of Memorial Day, obviously that's one of those things I really always try to make sure I can attend because of my parents' service to the military. But Chief Master Sergeant Violette did such a wonderful job when he recited "I am the flag." He didn't do it with any notes, and it went on for about 7 or 8, 10 minutes, I'd say. Is that right, HG?
Maybe longer.
He nailed it, and he did it with emotion. I'll tell you what, if you didn't have a lump in your throat by the time he was done, then you didn't feel what he said. But it's truly, truly one of the best Memorial Day functions I've ever had the ability to be at. So, Jeff, congratulations to you, because you led that program seamlessly. You got up there and you started the program, you did all the guest listers and brought them all up to speak, and you did a wonderful job. So I know this is kind of a new area for you, but you couldn't tell it. You look like an old hand at
I
your work
appreciate
there.
that. I
so-
didn't lose my papers, but,
Well, no, you didn't.
but thank you to Todd for finding
Yes,
Master
Todd did a lot
Sergeant,
of behind-the-scenes work.
be
I saw
there.
Todd there too. A lot of us were there. Chief was there, so,
Heather.
both chiefs.
I am sure that he did better than the backup.
I don't know who the front up or the backup was, but
He was the front runner and I was the backup if we couldn't find somebody. So I'm glad we found somebody and
he did
a
do
great
better.
job.
Yes, he did, so. Chief asked me if I'd do the prayer, because the gentleman that's supposed to do the prayer we were getting ready to start, and he was not there. I was praying he showed up, and he did. So, that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. A couple of slides. Recently, we got to tour the new state-of-the-art athletics facility at Smyrna High School. It's an 8,000 square foot athletic facility that houses a weight room, indoor turf section, locker room for coaches, trainers room, and a kitchen. And this new space will allow the old weight room to be converted into a new locker room for varsity football. And the following construction phases will include new industrial washer and dryer and team locker room. The new $5 million facility was funded by a donation from SRM and constructed by Dow Smith Construction. So I know those of you that played football in high school, that would have been a dream to have a locker room and weight room like that. It is something to see. So if you get that opportunity, go out and check it out. May 19th through the 25th is National Public Works Week across North America, and a time to reflect on the vital role public works plays in our daily lives. From planning and building to managing and operating, public works are the heart of local communities, improving everyday quality of life. The Public Works Department here includes the Traffic Operations, Streets, Stormwater, Building and Grounds, and Vehicle Maintenance Department. They also oversee the grave sites and maintain Mapleview Cemetery. Our Traffic Operations Department manages 53 traffic signals throughout the town and operates our signals remotely from our Traffic Operations Center. The Street Department maintains 600-plus lane miles of public roadways, restriping roadways, fixing curbs, and repairing 160-plus miles of sidewalk. The Stormwater Department maintains all our ditches and storm pipes, oversees the construction of new commercial, residential, and industrial departments, and mows and services all public right-of-ways. The Building and Grounds team services town-owned buildings such as Town Hall, Justice Center, Water Treatment Plant, fire halls, while building bathhouses and concession stands at our Parks Department. Our Vehicle Maintenance Department repairs and services more than 300 cars and trucks and over 100 pieces of equipment from lawnmowers to large excavation equipment. Our office staff works to support all of our departments and apply for state and federal grant money and oversees the design and construction of new roads and walkways. So if you see a public works official in the town of Smyrna or one of these employees, please make sure you thank them for everything they do in our community. I think when you listen to all that they have to do on a daily basis, it's pretty exciting and definitely something that you don't think about on a daily basis, but something that we all use on a daily basis. I also want to say how much to Linda knew how sorry we are. Bob and Linda, you would see them almost at every event that the town was having. So Bob will definitely be missed, and we'll keep Linda in our prayers. I can't think of anything else that I have. Anything else from anybody else tonight? Nope. So if nothing else, then we are adjourned.